The short stories of Chimamanda Adichie are written in an evocative, confiding tone as they illustrate the loss of identity and familial, romantic, cultural and political struggles the protagonists need to deal with as they attempt to assimilate with American culture or improve their situation. Characters are presented struggling to assert themselves as their inner sensitivity, intelligence and sense of justice prevail to move them forward to overcome many obstacles. They must face patriarchal society, political unrest, culture clashes, poverty and corruption. Adichie is adept at moving through each plot in a short time space, even though some stories span a lifetime. All of her protagonists are females, attempting to move past the limitations of their life in a forward manner, except in Ghosts, where the past is the happier part of a university professor's life. In Cell 1, the protagonist is an observant, intelligent sister who is unnamed. This directs readers to the knowledge that she is part of a culture which favours the eldest son, as he will carry on the name of the family. She observes her parents allowing for the legal indiscretions of her good-looking, charming and rebellious brother. Finally, he is arrested for murder because of his association with the violent cults who copy American gangs. Injustice, murder and corruption are graphically described as themes become apparent. In Imitation, the theme of infidelity, familial situations and cross-culture meld to portray a protagonist from an impoverished home married to a very wealthy man. Instead of ignoring her husband's indiscretions as others have done, she dictates to him and moves her marriage from imitation to real. From her lavish lifestyle in America, with educational and social benefits for her children, she moves back to Lagos with him. In a private experience, Adichie extends readers' perspective with a story covering political violence, religious conflict and social status. Two women are thrown together into a dull, dusty room. The Hausa Muslim woman helps Chico, the wealthy Christian, escape a life and death battle. Chico discovers the sensitivity and caring of the woman in opposition to her understanding of a violent Hausa Muslim culture. The story is poignantly told, as both women have lost close relatives in the market battle. Ghosts is the only story with a male protagonist. James meets an old acquaintance presumed dead for over 30 years. The Biafran War and its devastating consequences are described lucidly, and the unexplained but proven visits of James' deceased wife add a metaphysical dimension to themes of conflict, corruption and family disintegration. In Monday of last week, a university-educated wife takes a position babysitting for a Jewish solicitor and his African-American artist wife with an unhappy home situation. Kamara falls in love with Tracy, who at first encourages her. Cultural differences and infidelity provide an interesting story with an unusual ending. Jumping Monkey Hill is a different structure with a story within a story. The setting is an exotic tourist resort, place of African writers' workshop. The director Edward, although married, makes suggestive remarks and leers at Ujonyua, the young writer attending. She hates the way his eyes climb all over her. In her story, the protagonist writes of sexual harassment within a workplace her father introduces the main character into. She takes the only action available to her to keep her self-respect. The Thing Around Your Neck relates a young visa winner's humiliation at the hands of her uncle and her subsequent meeting of a wealthy young white boy. The racial overtones of her observations lead to her leaving America when she hears her father has died. Although they have lived together, her partner does not recognise her as his girlfriend. Her intelligence and observation are relayed, as is the negativity with which their relationship is viewed by both cultures. The American Embassy is a poignant story of injustice and upheaval in Lagos. After the escape of her journalist husband, a woman is targeted and her young son is shot by an inebriated soldier. She escapes by jumping over her 2-story balcony. As she is at the embassy applying for asylum in America, the reader becomes a witness to people being beaten in the streets by soldiers just because they can. The protagonist cannot bring herself to use the death of her young son at the embassy and walks away. The Shivering is a story of a broken relationship and two Nigerians who form a friendship. Chinedu and Yukamaka are meeting to pray for people in a plane crash. Chinedu has lost his informal job and can be deported any day. Yukamaka cannot believe after living with her boyfriend and planning a family, he rejects her, saying their relationship is stayed. The Arrangers of Marriage tells of an arranged marriage of Chinaza and the many problems she confronts, a husband she cannot identify with and a country she has difficulty understanding. Her relationships had the stereotyped idea her life married to a doctor in America would be full of wealth and privilege. However, he is only an intern in poor circumstances. Tomorrow is Too Far is a depressing story of sibling preference. This preference leads to the preferred brother's death as his sister becomes consumed with jealousy. The Headstrong Historian gives insight into the culture within families, as the army and missionaries move into, in their eyes, improve the culture of the Africans. The protagonist loses her land to two cousins of her husband's after they poison him. To get her land back, she sends her son to special schooling so he can go to one of the new courts. She loses her son to the ways of the missionaries, causing a great culture clash. Her granddaughter, however, takes her love of the African culture to the public by writing a book about this. These stories offer a wonderful, sensitive insight into the protagonists. They also display an intelligent understanding of the problems that occur when different cultures and cultural expectations collide. Chimamanda Adichie has written an outstanding collection of stories that will engage and provoke the reader.